Adelaide. Hi, Lola King. Hi, Chris. Hi, Chrissy. Hi, Skylar. Hi, Kay. Thank you for the likes already. Hey, Shawnee. Hi, Anika. Hi, India. Hey, K Boogie. Hey, y'all. Hey, good morning. Or afternoon, depending on where you are. Hello, hello. Or evening. Hi, Corinne. Hi, Raish. Hi, Kyra Shanice. Adelaide. I am feeling traumatized. Hi, Lex. And it's Lex's fault. Thank you, India. It is Lex's fault because I watched that stupid fucking Danish Deception 26-part series and I am traumatized. Thank you. Hi, babe. Listen.
Why did we need 26 fucking parts?
We didn't need 26 parts, y'all. Like, I'm exhausted. Hi, Bearing. Hey, Star. I did, Anika. I did. And honestly, I had to... What'd you say, baby?
I'm turning the lighting in.
Yeah, sure. I had to listen. Even as a therapist. Hi, Sheil. Hi, Ann. Thanks for sharing the live. Hi, Grace. As a therapist, I wouldn't even have somebody come in and just lay out all of that at the same, you know what I mean? Like just all at once, lay all of that out. And it would be a lot more directed than just me hearing every single detail of every single thing you're saying. And so, yeah, and we're going to talk about it because that was the question on the Google form today. I actually got another Google form request that I'm trying to decide if I should say anything about or not. Hi, Noelle. Don't say anything.
I don't know. We'll see.
Hi, Acid. Hello, hello, everyone. It was, Anika, I feel you stopping after the third one. I kept saying, like, I don't know if I can keep going. Like, I don't know if I can keep going. I think we got to, hi. We got to part 13 and then, or did we get further than that?
Yeah, I think we got a little bit further than that.
Maybe part like 16 or
yeah, somewhere around there.
Maybe we got to like part 15 or 16 and I was like, let me go to the last one.
Yeah.
Hi, that girl Rizzle. And here's the thing.
But I already knew what the end was going to be. Like I already knew from part 2 what the end was going to be.
Hello, everyone that's coming in. Welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. We are going to get into that Danish Deception. I do, yes, Noelle. I want to open up the panel today. Let's get to 25K as quickly as possible because I only want to be on until 1 o'clock. She definitely made some choices. Here, there's so many things that come up, and I'm gonna wait and let some people come into the live before I start talking about it too much. I don't know if it's just that she's a pick-me. I do, Anika, she's saying that Black women are attacking her the most. That actually doesn't shock me. Noelle, it's exhausting. Hi, Mava. I will totally do a quick recap before I get into it. That girl Rizzle. For people that have not seen it. Hi, Erica. Hi, Monica? I don't know if I'm saying it right. Tell me if I'm saying it wrong. I want to say it right. Thank you for the heart me. Ciao. Hi, Oshanti. Hey, Fifth House Readings. Hi, my loves. Welcome in. Happy Sunday. Hi, Alicia. Hey, Lyrical Bookie. Oh, thank you for saying that, but I do want to say your name right. So if you tell me how to, oh, thank you so much. If you tell me how to say it phonetically, I will say it correctly. Hi, Nikki. Hi, Dunn. Hey, Bearing 3106. Y'all, as soon as we get to 25K, we are going to open the panel. Hi, Lacey. We're going to open the panel. We're going to have this conversation. I got a really great question about it. So I was like, okay, I'm going to watch it, right? Lex had already sent it to me. Not AI being like Danish Deception discussion. I can't stand that AI just immediately fucking is like activated on TikTok. I don't don't know how to make it not do it. So hi Beatrice. I actually literally hate that. Hi Chantel. Hi Liz. Thank you for the likes, my love. Hi Sharonda. Yes, tap up the live. As soon as we get to 25K, we're gonna open up the panel, y'all. Listen, hi Danielle Nicole. Okay. Oh, it's 11:11. Hey Sharonda. I got a really great question. Hi Annabelle. Listen, Erica, it was exhausting. Like literally I can feel it in my body. Like I don't know how I hope people that chose to watch the whole thing watched it over days. And I would get curious with people about why we want to watch things like that. I know it feels like entertainment, but like it's traumatizing to an extent. I feel like, right? Hi Peaches. I think we got to, you watched it in one sitting. I know your body was feeling it. I know your body was feeling it. And I don't feel like we needed 26 parts, and that is annoying. I'm sorry. I don't feel like I needed 26 parts. I feel like some of that shit she could have kept. No, I'm not trying to be shady, y'all. I'm just saying some of the details I didn't need to know. She's not Danish. Her ex was Danish. See, yeah, I was stressed. My body was shaking. Yeah, it's really, really hard on your body. We're talking about the Danish Deception, Annabelle. It's really, really hard on your body. So I want y'all to, when you are watching things like that, I need you to be very, very mindful of why and taking care of yourself, because it will take a toll on your body. Again, as a clinician that's very practiced in not ingesting what I hear from clients, I even felt that in my body after watching 15 of them straight, 15 to 16 of them straight. Lyrical Buki, don't worry, I'm gonna give a recap before we got into it. Before we get into it, we watched 15 to 16 straight, and then I had to skip to the end. Yeah, it was too much. It was too much. Anika, listen, I was so annoyed after the first video. When she said this man looked like he stepped out of a Calvin Klein ad, I was like,
Calvin Klein. That let me know everything I needed to know.
Hi YMQ. Man PE, I feel you. Erica, listen. So the person that asked me the question, they basically said, I didn't even see the picture reveal of him. I know somebody tagged his name. I was like, I just need to disconnect. I have to be done at this point. Thank you so much for the gifts, y'all. Thank you so much for the likes. Thank you for getting us where we need to be quickly. She is from The Bachelor, apparently. And I only know that because she mentioned it like 2 or 3 times, which kind of felt like it was on purpose. Mm-hmm. Not gonna lie, that's what it felt like. Like, oh, this is Bachelor trauma. Like, she wanted us to know she was on The Bachelor, which is whatever. Like, but I don't know why we needed to know. Again, this goes back to me saying I feel like only some of the stuff that was told to us needed to be told to us, right? I feel like we could have gotten shorter. I didn't need to know all the details of like, it was a lot of details. It was a lot of details. You know, we're staying in this suite, like a suite that I've never stayed in before, blah, 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 blah. Like, I don't know if I needed to know all that.
No.
So the question that I got asked was about how anti-blackness, will you get my laptop so I can read it actually? Because somebody was asking about like how anti-blackness, I think it's in my office, babe. How anti-blackness showed up in this story. And so I think that's a great perspective to like view this from. And so I was like, okay, I'm gonna watch it. Like, I think that could be useful. Hi Gigi, my love. Hi Fab Chic. Hey Premier Hair. Period. Bundles. We're less than 10K away from the like goal, y'all. And then I'm gonna give a recap. We're gonna talk about it. No, not Bachelorette. She said Bachelor. She was on Bachelor is what she said, right? She said this was her Bachelor. She kept saying this is trauma from The Bachelor. I assume she meant because she was on The Bachelor. I don't know. I don't watch The Bachelor, y'all. I don't.
Never seen that dumb shit.
She was talking about a friend that was on The Bachelor. Why would she have trauma from her friend being on The Bachelor? I'm sorry. Hi, Ginger Love. Hi, Cecilia. Hi, Itsy Bitsy. Thanks for liking the live. She was on The Bachelor. Okay, y'all, help us get it straight now. Hi, Obsidian. Welcome in, welcome in. Thank you, Ginger, my love. Okay, there are clips from her. So she was on The Bachelor. Listen. She was on The Bachelor, y'all. There are clips of her on The Bachelor. Okay, The Bachelor season she was on, where the guy came out not long after the season. So like he came out as a gay man. Is that what you mean by came out? Like as a gay man? Yes, we're talking about, oh, okay. So is she saying that that's her trauma? Girl, don't piss me off. Don't piss me off if that's your trauma from it. Don't do that.
For real.
I don't remember who sent this question. Hold on. Nope, that ain't it. Okay, just kidding. Let's go to question 17.
16.
No, 17.
17, that one. 18 must be a new one.
Oh, we just got another one.
Just got one, yeah. So it was.
Oh, my bad, y'all. I didn't even see this one because oh, look, it's about the Danish Deception too. Yes. Okay. So I got 2 questions. Oh my gosh. I got 2 Sunday Live things about only 4K away, y'all.
Her 28-part Trapped in the Closet series.
I just don't know why we needed that many parts, y'all.
No, for real. She could have done that in 5.
Let me open this in another so that I can look at both of them at the same time, because we got two Sunday things about it. Before I get into it, I am gonna give y'all some tea. Can I say it, or no? You think? You don't think I should?
No, I told you to do it. Man, this morning I told you if you want to address it, you know.
Okay.
Just
very quickly, I'm going to address. Now, I don't think any of them are in here today because, you know, it's not as many people in here. Hi, Shay. It's not as many. Hi, Sasha. It's not as many people in here today, right? But on Friday, it was jumping in here. It was like at some point, it was like thousands of people came across the live on Friday, right? Listen, Tex. Listen, gossiping would have helped this whole situation. Listen, I'm going to tell y'all something very quickly. For the people that come into my live as you are scrolling by, or you engage with 1 or 2 videos of mine and you don't like the comments about people from Love Island that you like, I need you to keep that to yourself. I don't actually care, okay? I don't care. I had someone come into the Google form and talk to me about how my viewers are obsessed with pitting Olandria and Michelle against each other, okay? And that this is I am somehow creating a space for you all to do that with each other. And then, you know what they did? They used Olandria's PR email account to submit the Google form. So if you don't have the courage, to speak for your motherfucking self as your motherfucking self, I actually could not give 2 fucks about what it is that you have to say to me.
not at all.
You are absolutely unfucking well. While you're talking about people bringing up a competition between Olandria and Michelle, you are quite literally doing that by using Olandria's PR because you think that I am part of the Nicolandria Nation. You don't engage with my content. I know that you don't engage with my content, because all of the questions you're asking me prove that you don't engage with my content. Because why are you asking me whether or not Chris knows when he sits next to me in my lives? Why are you asking me about whether or not my children watch my content when everybody knows they're their manager and assistant manager? Why are you asking me that? Because you don't actually engage with my content. Okay, so I just want to put out the disclaimer for everyone that is an actual follower of me. Moving forward, I try to always let people be grown, right? I try to let you be grown. But if you want to engage on the Google form, at this point, it's going to automatically capture the Google account that you sign into. You're no longer going to be able to just type in a Google account. Okay, thank you, MK. I want them to understand that I say that all the time, right? That I'm not a part of any fandom. It doesn't. Thank you. I know that y'all know this. I know that you know it, Quasia. We know you are rated E for everyone. Okay, so to the rest of you all, thank you for all of you that choose to engage with my content the way that you do. I appreciate y'all so much in my space. I could not be more grateful for the community that we have built. I love that you all are so fucking intelligent and that we can come in this space together and we don't always agree about everything, but we get to hold brave space together and have really interesting conversations. I love y'all down for that. And y'all are not gonna run me off the internet or run me off of social media because y'all feel away. I do want to be clear though, in case this person isn't here. They may not be, because I blocked the account that I think is, no, her PR team didn't send it. Somebody used her PR team's email, because I had it where you could just type in your email versus it automatically capturing your email. Oh, we're at 25K. So I'm going to start bringing up panel, but I'm going to keep giving this disclaimer. I hold all the favorites accountable, even the people that I really like and engage with, right? I don't care, right? I respect, thank you so much, P. Thank you so much. Yeah, so it's no more freeform. You can no longer just type in your email. It's going to automatically capture it, because people have to be accountable, right? You need to be able to stand on your 2 feet. The difference between me and y'all is that I'm not hiding. I'm not hiding at all. I'm not afraid to stand on my principles. Okay. I'm not afraid to speak my mind publicly and to say what I mean and mean what I say. Okay. Further, Cookie, I will recap in just a second. Further, I just want to be, in case you are in here, don't be sorry for being late, my love. In case you are in here and you happen to be watching, I know the TikTok profile that you came from, because you were commenting on my TikTok within 30 minutes of sending me this fucking Google form. So you're actually not as anonymous as you think that you are, even though you were commenting from your burner account, because then I just went and found you on Instagram. I suggest you focus on the makeup business and doing that rather than being over here in my fucking business. Okay? Because my hands being rated E for everyone also includes you. Stay safe. All right. And no, I don't actually care, because they ask, well, do you care about hurting their feelings when they come in here trying to tell you to stop bullying? If you think this is bullying, you've never been bullied. Exactly. If you think this is bullying, you've never been bullied, and you've never seen someone be bullied. That's the problem, is that a lot of y'all grew up on the internet and you're not old enough to know what it meant to actually be bullied in real life.
Hell yeah.
No shade, all tea. No shade, all tea. This is why people can never get on the internet and try to make me feel a way about myself, baby. I grew up as a millennial, where I had to have a personality and be likable in real life, not on the internet. Okay? So I want y'all to have less obsession with me and how I engage on the internet, and go be obsessed with your faves. Go do that. Lacey, gang, gang. Okay, thank you so much for getting us so quickly to 25K, y'all. Hopefully I don't have to whack nobody else in here today. I think that we won't have to. I think what we're talking about is going to keep them quiet in the comments. And they probably won't even come in here. Exactly. That's a great point, user. Is that Nini pointing out how someone's actions don't align with what they say is not bullying? Even pointing out what you don't like is not bullying, right? Cookie dough, what happened? A deranged Chalet fan came into my Google form. I used to allow people to type in their email. They typed in Olandria's PR team's email to send me the form, and then sent me a message about how I create a space for Michelle to be bullied, that I should call her the name that she's chosen, even though nicknames are terms of endearment. And I don't know that girl, and she is not endeared to me personally. And she even slipped up in her Mama Tish interview and called herself Michelle. I don't know if y'all caught that, right? But like, just being weird. And so I'm just letting the people know where I stand on that. After I had done a whole, PSA at the end of my live last time, saying that people need to stop being weird and go into that girl's page and bullying her. So, people are unwell. They're going after Blue on Twitter with threats. Yeah, so, exactly, Destiny, right? So it's like, I just want them to find better things to do with their time rather than being in my shit at 6 a.m. in the morning.
I just want to give a quick PSA as well.
Please do.
I'm not here for a long time. I'm just here to listen. In case y'all didn't know, if y'all still in here, this is a Tina Tatership, and we don't play. She don't got to stay scared because she stay ready, because me and Big C got her back. Don't play with us, because we don't play about Tina. We don't play about Tina. So, I mean, if you really want to play them games, you feeling froggy, leap, homie. Because I don't play.
That's what I said.
We old school. We ain't a radio. We don't play. We are old school around here. Don't do it. We are the last of the unbullyable. Don't do it. Don't do it.
If you're from LA, you already are going to get this reference. I promise it is safer to play on Crenshaw
in traffic.
It is in my comments or on my live or on my any of that. I promise it's safer to play this than it is with me.
Go play in traffic. Don't play with me, please. Please. But y'all stay safe out there. Get a therapist, not mine. Tina's mine. I don't share. So go get yourself a therapist. Okay? Go whine and talk Iatree's inbox. Don't do that here. Okay? Y'all carry on. I'll be in the comments playing Blockiana. Love y'all. Bye.
Love you too. Okay, y'all. So I'm going to read the question. It's so much, y'all. Oh, wait, hold on. Let me give the backstory real quick to the Danish Deception. Those of y'all that are up here that have watched it fully, if I missed something, add it in. But basically, this woman is telling the story of how she goes on a girls' trip with her friend. She sees this gorgeous man. They end up, Fontaine, we're talking about the Danish Deception. They end up kind of connecting. There's a little, some flirtatious, playful banter. They end up connecting via Instagram. They end up having like some commentary back and forth. He's trying to fly her out. Eventually, she does go and see him. She gets flown out to Monaco. They spend time together. She tells this man she loves him. This is after like maybe 6 weeks of them knowing each other and having only seen each other but one time because they hadn't. Anyway, I'm not going to do all that. They've been talking every day. She tells him she loves him after about 5-6 weeks. Thank you so much, Denise, for the gift. She falls and has some sort of accident, and while she's in Monaco, bumps her head. She's having these seizures. This man tells her, "I love you," as she's getting ready to go back and have her head looked at. Okay. Then they spend all this time kind of moving back and forth, flying back and forth, seeing each other. Basically, what it boils down to is the man was an ultimate fucking scammer. He told her that he was this wealthy, well-to-do businessman. He really was scamming. Okay. Did he drug her, Lex? Because that's exactly what I thought. Okay, I was right. I never got to that part, but I was like, he put something in her drink. Yeah. Did he put it in her drink? Because I told Chris, I said what it was giving was, okay, I'm going to get into that in a second. Let me just finish the recap. Sorry, y'all. Okay, so, he tells her that he's a businessman, he's an Olympian, he's a royal child. The man is from Denmark, but tells her that he's part of the order, but his royal family is the Order of the Elephants. That was just, I'm sorry. Okay, it's not funny. Okay, she did say she tripped on her dress on the stairs. I'm wondering if it ever came out that she actually got drugged though, because that's what I thought when it happened. I was like, that doesn't make any sense to me. Okay, people just think that he did. Okay, she never said that, so we're not going to say that. It didn't actually come out. It's just speculation. No, it's not a Netflix documentary, child. It's on her TikTok. Don't go watch it. You can watch it if you want to. So she, cookie dough, clock it. So anyway, okay. So this man is an Olympian. He's a royal. He's a wealthy businessman, but he keeps borrowing all this money from her. She's trying to prove to this man that she's not a gold digger. So she is like, I'm not with you for the money. I just love you, blah, 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 blah. Ends up finding out the man has a gambling addiction. I know I'm missing parts because I couldn't keep watching. He has a gambling addiction. He was conning her friends, her family, other people that he knew. He was just being a con man. Okay, this is how he was basically funding his life, is what I gathered from what I watched. I am telling y'all, I skipped about 8 or 9 parts. I couldn't keep doing it. And now she's in the position where she is gathering evidence. Other people have come to her and been like, hey, he also scammed me. He also conned me. She's figuring out that apparently there was some overlap between relationships. She got married to this man. They ended up getting divorced. And now she's trying to pursue a case against him. What did I miss? You see how that didn't take me 28 parts? What did I miss? He asked for the divorce. Okay, so he left her. He asked for the divorce. Did he leave her because she asked him to go to Gamblers Anonymous? Is that what was like the final straw for him, her pushing that?
No, he left because I think the pressure was now too much because he had borrowed from everyone they knew. So now there's no more scamming. He was caught.
Okay. So he left because he couldn't scam anymore. He did ask for the divorce, they're saying, but she is the one that filed.
And she begged him to stay. She begged him to stay when he left.
She begged him to stay, and here's how I'm actually not shocked by that, because she actually said when she found out that he had a gambling addiction that she wanted to fight it together. She really wanted to figure out how to support him through this, blah, 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 blah. Listen, why were they giving money to someone that she thought was, that they thought was rich? That's the question, right? And we're going to get
because he's white.
Correct. So
I hate to sound like that person because I am not. Tina, you know me. But would she have done this if it was black? If everything was the same except it was black? That's my question.
P.
That's what we were talking about. She wouldn't have at all. Not even close.
Listen, he would
I'm
not.
a skepticism, especially she's a Nigerian girl. She's from my tribe.
A copy of her passport. If the guy was black, he would not have gotten a copy of her passport.
You know when she should have been doing the research when we invited her to Monaco. Because if I'm telling my friend that a man invited me to Monaco, we're gonna Google him. Like, we're gonna Google him to see what he does. And from the way she was saying it, when she first described it, I thought they were just gonna go to Monaco and do their transactions and have fun. I didn't think they would get married. Like, I just thought it was just a fun, sneaky link kind of thing. I didn't think like it was a whole full relationship. So by the time I'm hearing like they got married, they got in a relationship, I'm thinking, what? This was only for fun. I thought this was sprinkle. Like, what?
Listen, let me tell you. So I want to give y'all my thoughts.
It's a meal, not a lifetime. Like,
exactly.
I want to give y'all my thoughts. I want to read you the question. I want to open the panel up to discuss this. Here's what I thought. Immediately when she left Croatia and that man was like, do you want to come out to Ibiza this weekend? That was the first time she should have Googled that man.
Yep.
That was the first time she should have Googled that man, because why are you inviting me to a whole nother country with you and your friends the weekend after you met me? That was immediately, she should have been present of mind around, this feels like a laying on. This feels like a thickness of lavishing. Y'all got to learn how to better spot love.
that sounds like trafficking. That's classic lure. Classic.
The other time that she should have Googled this man is when he asked for a picture of her passport, because you don't need a picture to book my ticket. You need my name, the correct spelling of my name, right? You need my passport number, maybe my DLB, but you don't need a copy of my passport to book my flight.
What really gets me is she's Nigerian, right?
Yes.
So Nigerians, especially us Igbos, we travel a lot back and forth home, right? Especially if she brought that man to her village. She knows her folks. She's traveling between the States and Nigeria, right? It's probably since she was a kid. Even let's say she was like a teen, right? Would her parents been like, oh, Onyeka, I need your passport to like I need you to scan can you go scan the passport at the library or something? No! Even as a grown woman, right? She's probably done friend trips. Let's say one bestie, okay, girlies, I just need your phone and your name because I'm handling the travel details. Have they ever asked, can I get a scan of your passport? That's insane to me.
And what I want y'all to remember is that when this man, for those of y'all that didn't watch it, when this man asked for the picture of her passport, they had not even they'd known each other for maybe 2 or 3 weeks. And when I say known each other, I mean they met in Croatia and had been DMing on Instagram. Like, she had not known this man long enough to be feeling like she should trust this man in this way.
And he didn't even ask for her number. She offered it. She handed it to him. She handed it to him on a silver platter. And within 1 week, she was already inviting him to come to South Africa with her family. Like, who does that?
What?
Yep.
And y'all,
She said, I was joking, but there's no joke. Like, what kind of joke is that? Like, oh, you should come.
No lies.
Oh, that's actually crazy.
My first thought was love bombing, because why are we moving so quickly?
No, it is love bombing.
Yeah, why were they love bombing each other?
Did you guys see that the Danish guy that he scammed when she talked to the Danish guy, and then he was telling her that the other Danish guy scammed him, her man scammed him, and then she asked him like, okay, why didn't you say something? Then he said, you're Nigerian, I thought you were in on it. And then
I heard that, but I didn't watch that whole episode.
Yep.
This is crazy.
And she was smiling while saying that. And protecting the name of the CEO. Because people in the comments were like, you have to name him because that's such a racist thing to say. And she's like, oh, I'm going to protect him. Like, people are like, why are you protecting him? And even the way she framed this whole Danish Deception, it should have been the Danish scammer. My ex-narcissist white scamming ex-boyfriend. Why do you want to give him like respectability when it was a Nigerian? You're so easy to say, oh, Nigerians are known for being scammers. You say it as it is, but then when it comes to this white man, then it's the deception. Why are you giving him class? Like, he was a narcissist, abusive, scamming ex-white man. Say it as it is.
Right.
I agree.
Okay, y'all.
Yeah. There was
Hold on. Let me give you my thoughts, and then I'm going to open the panel. Okay. The question was posed to me, how does anti-Blackness influence Black women in particular to fit the mold or standards, sometimes in direct competition with other white or BIPOC women, in relationship to this conversation? And then there are other questions. I will get to those. We can get to those in a second. Listen, the reality is, and I've said this to y'all before, so it's a quick thought. I've said this to y'all before. When people are positioned as white, as attractive, as wealthy, anything that is aligned with whiteness, that is aligned with capitalism, they are inherently become more believable to people that are aligned with that ideology, right? And I've talked to y'all about this with the example of Meg Thee Stallion and Glorilla versus Glorilla and her makeup artist. Everybody was on Glorilla's side. Nobody was really giving Glo no smoke about how she talked to her makeup artist. But as soon as Glo did something when it came to Meg, people were on Meg's side because Meg had more power. Whoever is perceived as having more power is going to be perceived as being more believable. Part of the reason why not only this Danish man, but that one girl that has the Netflix documentary about her, the reason why they are able to scam people so effectively is because people see white skin, they see people that they perceive as attractive, and that are even just saying they have money. Anna Delvey, thank you. And so they become believable. You believe them that they have money. You believe this about them simply because they are saying it to you because they fit certain metrics. And so this is why, to Anika's point, if that had been a Black man, she probably would have had more questions much sooner. We're talking about Danish Deception. She would have had questions much earlier on. And let's be real, she really didn't have questions for a long time, because even when it came out, Crypto and Crypto's wife situation came out, Crypto said, are you okay with me looking into a PI? And she says, well, I didn't tell him, because girl, why would you? Why would you have told him? right? If you allow yourself, exactly, a girl in the sense that it could be you if you rely on racial stereotypes and judgments to determine people's value. So if you allow yourself to buy into the narrative in the United States, because she lives in the United States, right? But anywhere, this could be true anywhere. If you buy into the narrative that because someone is white and you buy into the system of whiteness, they are white and you perceive them as attractive, you are more likely to believe them, period, right? This is why a white man could go into a bank with disheveled clothing on, and a black man could go into a bank with a suit on, and the white man with disheveled clothing is still more likely to be treated a certain type of way than the black man with business clothing on. It is why even with college degrees, right? It's because that whole system is at play all the time. And so Babes is just very bought into this system. She is very, very bought into this system, and that is very obvious by the way that she never once, we at like part 12, 13, and she's like, I've never caught this man in a lie. After all that you just said, you're telling me that you still have not caught this man in a lie? And somebody said to her in her comments, yeah, because you haven't been asking any questions. And she didn't feel like she needed to question him because, again, he is a white man that told her, oh, I'm the chief whatever officer of this business, which that was already suspicious. I don't know why she didn't clock that.
But not public? That's weird.
I don't know why she didn't clock that as suspicious, that he is completely in the exact same industry as you. Like, that wasn't weird. It was a little too zingy. And somebody said it in the comments, and it's true. She was Googling flights and hotels, but couldn't bother to Google this man. Y'all, whiteness was definitely her buying into whiteness, right? Absolutely influenced the way that she engaged with this man, the way that she engaged, because she gave this man over a year of her life, right? He did apparently, she said that she could verify that he had a job. I don't know what that means. She does still believe that, Lex. I'm like, I don't know what that means because, baby, I can get into Adobe and make some shit. Don't even play with me. So I don't know what that means, that you verified his bank statements and all this and that. That don't mean nothing to me. You know what I'm saying? And the fact that she was in these rooms with his bosses, but you don't speak the language, so you don't really know what they're saying between each other. All you know is the conversation you're having with them, right? So I think that she definitely bought into the system of whiteness that allowed her to believe him more easily. I would be curious to hear from my girlies that are Nigerian, that are up here on the panel, my girlies from other places. I do think that this also has to deal with, or is attached to, the way that first gens are cultured into blackness in the United States.
Yes.
She was more likely to believe.
100%.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll say this, like, I'm not American, I am Canadian, but I kind of sort of grew up in a similar space. Like, I went to majority white school up until like I was 12. Then I moved to that's the most we have in common. Then I moved to a more multicultural space, more, Southeast Asians and South Asians and East Asians. Still no black people, but still. Yeah, when you're African, right, you don't really see much of your culture reflected in media and spaces, right? And so you kind of want to latch onto the nearest thing, but because of anti-black, brainwashing, your parents will be seeing Black American culture. The bits and pieces they see are out of context, and there's no historical context or understanding of why these conditions exist for these people. You know what I mean? Kind of the same way, reverse, when you see starving African children begging for money on the TV. That's really all you can associate with Africanness, right? And so you meet the African, then you think they're, oh, okay, well, that's all they have. That's why they're here in America. Vice versa, you see gangsters and drug dealers and hoes and tricks and whatever, right? You don't really get to see the quote unquote respectable parts of Black American culture, or the quote unquote normal or middle class white aligned parts of Black American culture or whatever, right? The diversity of the culture. So it allows you to form a negative worldview of people who look literally the most like you. These are literally your cousins. And oftentimes, if you haven't, if you don't have like a reverence for Black American culture, which a lot of Africans do, then you start to kind of have like a negative perception, and you could be like, oh, I don't want you to hang around those Black people. They're ghetto, they're this and that. We want you to be a respectable guy. We don't want you outside in the streets. Blah, 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 blah. Bad influences. If they could isolate you to your African community, they would. But if they can't do that, they'll just prefer you to be in white spaces because, the white man built America, whatever. That's where we want you to go to school. We want you to go do this and do that, right? So she was kind of, I don't know specifically exactly the way she was raised. I mean, I wasn't necessarily raised that way. I was just raised to just be a kid and love my own culture in a sense. Like I had a healthy respect for my culture and understanding for the one I was in, despite my difficulties trying to integrate. She definitely, me and her have dealt with desirability. I was chopped as a kid. I was tall and fat and the only Black girl for decades. So I wasn't ever a romantic viability or whatever. And I remember kids talking about oh, I have a crush on this guy, and I was thinking to myself, I can't tell these kids I have a crush because it's going to be embarrassing. Because if you say you have a crush on someone, then there's a possibility of them liking you back, right? And I'm like, that's never gonna happen. So when you literally go through your formative years of socialization with this kind of mindset, you feel like you have to take the dregs and the scraps, right? Plus, you have to be exceptional because your parents, you have to get good grades. We don't play about education. Education is what saved us. If you're in the United States or Canada or whichever, right? Education was how you got out or how someone who sponsored you to get out got you out, right? Education is formative to being able to leave Africa for any reason, generally, right? Unless you're a refugee, but it helps, right? So let's say you're a late bloomer, you're dark skinned, you're African, you're also a woman, you have to be exceptional. So you've forced yourself to really get good grades regardless of your interest in STEM or something, right? And you don't have much socializing experience because you spent all your time studying and you're just not that girl anyway, and you're trying to be a good girl and a good Christian girl, whatever. It's so easy to get played. So extremely easy. It's not even I understand everyone's reactions, and my reactions are kind of rude and negative too, and I still feel girl, this wouldn't be me, but I feel a lot of people feel that way, including me. I'm calling myself out because we see a lot of ourselves in her, and this is just quite embarrassing in general. I've seen a lot of Nigerian girls leaving me. I was like, dang, I would never give a white man more. I wouldn't give a white man money. That's not happening, period. It's as an African woman, that's crazy to me. Giving a white man money, that's just really crazy. But, it's just, white supremacy and desirability and feeling you're on the bottom of the totem pole. So if the guy on the top is looking at you oh, that means you're really special and he really must really be interested in you if he's even looking like a ugly Black girl like you, yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's part of why people act how they act about Alandria and Nick, right? It's it's only because of Nick, right? And so even though we all know that that's not true, right? But it's part of that narrative that exists for people, right? And so her being chosen by this high-powered, wealthy, strong quotes, because that man was funding everything through the money she was giving to him, whether she realizes it or not, right?
That man was actually a trick. No, a pimp. They take your money and then they buy you things with your own money.
The fact that she was oh, I sent him, $18,000, and then, we went to see his family, and then Callie Patties, you must not know my husband. So when are y'all going to talk about how Alandra promotes GANG violence? And what's wrong with that? And what's wrong with that?
This is America.
And what's wrong with that? You thought I was going to shame her for that?
Right.
You sound crazy. That's where her dad... And what about it? And what about her dad being a GD?
Gang, gang.
Gang, gang. And what about it?
That's such a crazy statement. She just says my dad's affiliated. That's it. No, like she's never said anything else.
That's not glorifying.
That's not glorifying it. That's not. It has nothing to do with GANG violence.
It's a statement. It's just a statement.
Like, be quiet.
She's not in her lives, in her videos, trying to represent it, trying to say my dad is G. So this, I'm
Mind you, she's actually warning people, don't try me for their sake. She's telling them for their sake, don't try me, don't press me too hard, because I'm good.
Yeah, I don't even, and listen, I just want you to know that that's not giving what you think it's going to give, because I'm not a respectable black person, even though I have degrees. I'm actually not that black person, and so I'm not mad about people doing what they need to do. You need to understand GANG culture before you try to come in here having any conversation with me.
Nobody's bad.
Good. There's a reason for it. There's a historical reason for it.
There's a historical reason for why GANGs exist. And before you start trying to have any sort of white supremacist ass conversation with me about it, you need to go do your research.
She tries to be high and mighty.
She tries to be high and mighty. She's literally loving her father. I want you to get a life and stop being obsessed with her. Why don't you go and engage with your faves instead of being worried about what Olandria is doing with her daddy? That's weird.
Please go find something safe to do, like Olandria has said before, please.
That is so weird. Okay, anyway, back to old girl. Yeah, there is this whole buying into whiteness, buying into this narrative again, and I'm actually not upset with her. I just don't feel like she would have had the same reaction had it not been a Danish white man. I don't think that she would have moved the same way had he not been a Danish white man. I'm not upset with her. I'm not necessarily embarrassed by her. I am like watching it like, girl, at no point are we stopping. And I will say this, and then I'm going to go to Ann, Skylar, and then the rest of my panel. I will say this is why I'm a huge advocate, and y'all can do whatever you want to do, but I am a huge advocate that if you're going to try to be in an actual romantic relationship with someone, do not have sex before 90 days. And I promise you, you don't love anybody before 90 days, because if y'all listen to her timeline, 3 to 4 months in is the first time they had their first argument. That would have gone probably very differently had she not already had sex with that man. Callie, I'm going to give you one more opportunity to shut the fuck up before I block you, because nobody's even in here talking about them. You're over here bringing them to us, but say y'all don't want us to talk about them. Which is it? Which is it? Because you're bringing them up in a live that's not even about them. So which is it? Go watch the music video.
And just because her dad is from that, you don't know what her life was like growing up. You don't know nothing about the culture. Most men try, most of them. I'm not going to get into that. You don't even know her life or how she grew up or what violence was in her household or not. So shut the fuck up. Because you don't know nothing about gang cultures.
GANG culture.
Sorry. You don't know nothing about that culture. So stop.
Leave that girl be. And that's fine, Callie. Have it in your page, babe. We're not even talking about Alan or Michelle right now. You're in here just bringing them up for no reason. You're in here talking about Olandria for absolutely no reason. For no reason at all, other than to be contrarian, because we're not even discussing them. It's weird. This is that level of obsession that I be talking about with the shoelacers, right? Y'all be over here and we're not even talking about that. And you're like, let me come in here and defend them. Against what? Against what? And if y'all want to keep it a buck, and I hate to be doing this, y'all, because I really be trying not, but it annoys me. I'm not going to lie. And I'm one of those people where I got to get shit off my chest. I can't hold that shit in my body. It annoys me because I've never actually spoken disparagingly about Michelle publicly, literally ever. I intentionally don't do that. It's not even about feeding the troll, Anika. It's just, I know myself and I know my body, and I know that if something annoys me, I'm just either going to hold it in my body or express it from my body. But y'all are not going to keep trying to write this narrative about me as if you can go to my page and find any public videos of me disparaging Michelle. You're never going to find them because they don't exist. They don't exist. I don't disparage Michelle publicly on purpose. It does not exist. Hi, Seventh Letter. I'm very intentional about that. The only thing y'all have ever heard me say in a video about Michelle is that I know people want to provide her cover about Alan's interview. And you are the company that you keep including the people that you fuck. And thank you, bae. I literally voted for Michelle and Alan when the show was on. Like y'all don't understand what it means to like a person and still hold them accountable for bad behavior. And that just goes to show me that when you become adults, you are going to be poorly functioning, probably unliked adults, because accountability is chasing you, but y'all motherfuckers stay faster. And you still can't go and find no public video that does that, Hallie. You still are never going to go to my page and find a video that speaks ill about Michelle. That's never going to happen. Y'all think that exactly, and that's a great point. They think Michelle should be free from critique because of her pretty face. I know I don't, Kim. I'm choosing to. I'm choosing to because this is my space, right? KQKO, I think that's supposed to be Coco Bean. Are you saying, I'm talking about them as people, right? People like this that come in here and think that someone's saying, oh, you know, this was not great. This could have been done differently. This could have been better, right? That any level of accountability is like, oh my God, you hate that person. And it's like, why do you go to such extremes? So I know that you're going to struggle with accountability in your own life, if that's the way that you perceive any level of critique. Because that's such a, I'm sorry, y'all. I know that y'all don't want me to engage with it, but it is my space. And however, why is Alandria held in high value when look who raised her? That is such a classist, anti-Black fucking statement.
Hell yeah.
To say on this page, that is actually very much disturbing. That you feel like because her parents lived the life that they had to live because they were children when they became parents to her, and they were susceptible to the experiences and the environment that they lived in. And if you know anything about GANG culture, while I don't engage in that, I don't, you know what I'm saying? But if you know anything about GANG culture, you know how they can act as surrogate family. The same way queer people choose family, right? You know that the way that can be true. If you know anything about, so to take a dig at her because of something, and look at who she's become. Her parents did a fantastic job. Don't be weird.
For real.
That girl, they pushed her to go to college, to put education first, to achieve the things that she has in life. That's weird. Don't do that. Alandria is doing a fantastic job, and her parents did a great job considering where they were and what they came from.
You acting like this woman, this Danish woman now.
That is steeped in anti-Blackness.
Yeah.
That is steeped in anti-Blackness, and we're not going to do that.
You got one more comment and you blocked.
Chris is going to block you on the next unwell comment. Exactly, Cookie Dough. That can also be applied to any islander if you say that they all have stories. Like, exactly. Everybody comes from somewhere.
Everybody.
That's so gross, actually. Okay, Anne, please give us your thoughts.
Oh, okay. Not to repeat what's already been said, but I feel like this lady suffers a lot of she has low self-esteem and like racial inferiority complex, because with a lot of these things that she was saying, logically it did not make sense. And the way she was so defensive on the internet, there was one lady who actually said that one of her ex-friends contacted her and they had warned her about this man, that the way they're moving too fast, and they ended up actually not being friends anymore. because of that, because she was so defensive about this guy. And she even blocked his ex at some point. When the tea had spilt, then she ended up contacting the ex again. And then the ex told her that, I wanted to tell you before, but then I knew you were in too deep and you wouldn't listen to what I have to say. And for me, even like the red flag of, I don't know, like in African culture, like I'm the first of my generation to witness like a dad give like a white man money. Like what? Like his son-in-law? Like for what reason? For what reason? Like it was just so insane to me. Even the people were talking about the the seizures. Like this woman, like she had no like medical history of having seizures ever in her life, and then the first time she did it was with that man, and she blacked out. Like, wasn't that and the way she brushed it off, she was avoiding accountability. Even when she said, I'm paying most of the bills, like she was avoiding accountability because she would rush through those things so fast because she didn't want people to actually like double down on that. Like, sis, like what were you doing at this point? And her stories were very inconsistent for me. You said that you did your research on gamblers, right? You did your research on gambling. You wanted to understand the addiction, but then at the same time you give this man a credit card, and then at the same time also you don't tell his family that he's gambling. And one of the things about gamblers, like you have to expose them. You cannot keep secrets. If they're gambling, you cannot like keep it a secret. You have to like expose them. And so like, which one is it? Are you researching? Do you know about gambling or not? And I feel like she was more in love with the aesthetic. That's why she kept staying, because she just knew like how it looked, like her proximity to whiteness and her need to separate herself from the rest. You could hear that her saying, "Oh, I wanted to cook for him to show him like when he was talking about wife material. I don't know, some conversation they were having, and she was like, "Oh, I'm not like the rest. I would cook for my man. Like I would do this." Like the pick-meism is so deep embedded in her. Like I generally do not believe that it could have been black or white. She would have been the same. I feel like her pick-me, in terms of being a pick-me, she would have been the same. So yeah, those are my thoughts.
I want to just say, because that's a great point. Text also, people are naming it in the comments. This is why pick-me friends are dangerous, right? Because to y'all's point, she took about, we did talk about that. And I'm sure we'll continue to touch on it, right? But like, she quit her job as they were already struggling for money. You had just traveled to Portugal and all of that got put on your credit cards, and then you quit your job? Like, what about that was like, yes, this is the right decision to make, right? And the danger of the pick-me being so male-centered, right? Being, I need to be with a man so badly, is the fact that, like, to y'all's point, she kept the yes people around and got rid of the people that were questioning. Oh, thank you. So when her one friend was like, does his mom even know about you? Well, what world would his mom not know? Like, people were trying to raise alarms. People were trying to like raise, like, hold on, what's going on here? And she was not trying to hear none of that shit. Mm-hmm. She was not trying to hear none of that shit. And I want y'all, if you listen to that story, there's a couple of lessons I want you to take away. I already told y'all, you don't love nobody before 90 days. No, you don't. No, you don't. You are in the endorphin stage of the relationship. Everything feels good. Everything is rosy. You need to give it 90 days, mamas. Okay? You don't love nobody for 90 days. And I would suggest not having smex before 90 days if you think that this is going to be something you want to be serious, right? Because smex does confuse some things. Let's just keep it a buck, right? And we will start to let certain things slide because, oh, well, we're so connected, right? And if the smex is good, that makes it even harder, right? So I would just say, wait at least 90 days, right? Because like she told us, by the time they got to month 3, month 4, they had that first argument, okay? Nah, mommy Ashley, it was not. Listen, I knew I loved Chris the first time that he and I ever sat down and went on a date. I knew I loved that man. I didn't tell that man that I loved him, and I did not have sex with that man for more than 90 days. I waited.
Are you saying that man like I'm not right here?
I waited.
Yeah,
because I knew that it needed to not be the rosiness, right? It needed to be something deeper than that, right? And then the other thing I would like people to take away from this is his limit testing. Lex, it's his limit testing, right? He said back when the first time he ever was talking to her about money problems, right? He said, y'all are funny. He said, hi, Sela. He said, I need $10,000, right? I need $10,000. Oh, I'm not taking any money from you. No. And then he kept, or whatever number it was, and he kept dropping it down. Oh, now I only need this much. Well, let me help you. I'm not with you for the money. He was listening for how much does she want to prove to me? How much is she willing to do? And so he was positioning it as, okay, fine, I'll let you help me, so that she wouldn't be like, why is this man asking me for money? It was a manipulation tactic. Okay, it was a manipulation tactic. So I need y'all to be able to spot things like that too. Okay, Anne, please give us your thoughts. Okay, Erica, please ask it later so I don't forget. Go ahead, Anne.
Hey y'all, happy Sunday. First, I want to say, stop playing with my girl Tina. This is absolutely ridiculous. Everyone is held accountable. This is not a live where we pit women against each other at all. It's actually for women. It's never been against women. That's why everyone is held accountable. We don't even do fandoms. It's just fair game for everybody. Like, I don't consider my fan of me to be a fan of anyone. I'm for all the girls, but they will be held accountable. And Shelly needs to be, in quotes, what Tina would say, needs to be held accountable to some level for what the man she's fucking is doing. I said what I said. Be mad. Oh well. So I follow this girl called Crime Doc Danny on TikTok and Instagram, and she recapped it for us because I'm not gonna watch 46 stories. Girl, you are not Risa Tisa. Here's the thing. Risa Tisa is having a movie made. A series adaptation made about her, and Natasha Rothwell is playing her. Get with it. Secondly, Risa Tisa took accountability for her role in this story. I have not heard not a one accountability. Thank you for the gift, Scarchin. Accountability from this girl Onyeka, who pronounces her name like that. Aren't you Nigerian? Mm-hmm. Okay, girl. All right. Number one. Here's the three things I recognize: anti-blackness, pick-me-ism, and you're a clout chaser. So listen. I don't know. I know I've heard about her being on The Bachelor, but I've also heard, correct me if I'm wrong, if my information may be incorrect, that she's been on 3 other reality dating shows. And what has Tina taught you guys about reality dating shows? There's a level of pick-me-ism that you have to be on national television competing for the male interest and the male gaze. Absolutely not. Couldn't be me. And so with that being, I don't know. I feel zero empathy for this woman, and I usually do empathize when someone is a victim. Here's why I don't feel any empathy. On some level, you begin to participate in your own demise, my love. And if you want to grow, you have to take accountability and be like, I allowed this man to take from me. I allowed this man to scam this amount of dollars from not only myself, but from those that are in close proximity to me. I.e. family and friends. So girl, I feel no empathy with you. Thank you, Lex. I feel no empathy for you. Like, I can't. At a certain point, ma'am, it's giving you allowed it. It's giving you were okay with it. Number one, when I heard the recap from Crime Doctor, thank you for that, because I'm not gonna watch them 46 series. Girl, are you bugging? Risa Tisa was actually entertaining. And she lived in her truth, and she was accountable. She said, I'm going to tell all of it, even if it make me look stupid. Onyeka, it looks like you like being stupid, sis, because you allowed homeboy to take advantage of you. I ain't going to hold you. At a certain point, you were like, okay with it. This man's getting me out of money. And then you find out he's a gambling addict. Okay. But you know that he doesn't have the money allegedly, and all this stuff is going on, but you're willing to be on vacations and doing all of this, doing all of that. Miss N on top. I can't see your whole name. I'm going to agree with her. It's looking like you were loving the aesthetic, loving the lifestyle more than you really cared about this man. And the fact that, you're obsessed with him being Danish and being a quote unquote, I must say it, white savior. Like, ma'am, you have some internalized anti-blackness that you need to unpack. You were pick me. I don't know who taught you that, but hopefully you can unlearn it. Maybe there's hope for you. I don't know. I'm trying to be an optimist. Girl, I don't care that she was on The Bachelor or how many other dating shows that you went into. Yes, it's giving they use each other, Miss Nandabi. Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah. What the fuck is going on? This is a lot of confusion. And what do they call confusion? A fucking lie. I'm not here. I'm not here for you, Onyeka. Girl, get a life. For real, for real. I've heard several takes of the women on these TikTok streets. I don't know why Danish Deception decided to pop up on my page. Even Dominique is like, girl. Dominic Morgan's like, girl. Listen, sweetie. He ain't it. And apparently you ain't it either, because you don't love yourself enough to like, you just kept allowing it. And I cannot feel sorry for you. That's all. Thank you. Hey, Lady Russell.
Hey, Lauren, welcome in. Okay, y'all. So listen, so this is one of the questions. Do you believe Onyeka's story, and is she considered a victim? Are the people calling out Onyeka's lack of accountability victim blaming? So I'm going to say a couple of things about that, and then I'm going to go back to the panel. You can be a victim and still be accountable around. Oh, these are your questions, and still be accountable around your behaviors in it, right? So the reality is he scammed her. He conned her. That's the truth of the situation. Period. Full stop. So yes, she is a victim to that. Okay. I'm also going to say she was love bombed, and I actually don't think it was mutual. She was giddy for him, but I think that he was doing a lot of, she said it made him more persistent. He was doing a lot of that pursuit, and we have to be willing to acknowledge how abuse dynamics work and how it can be very easy, if you are susceptible because of other things, to fall victim to certain things. Even if we're like, that would never be me, I would have more questions. The reality is a lot of us will probably have more questions, or we would have been more aware because we've maybe already had an experience where we were like, oh shit, I got played, right? And so we have now the foresight, right, that maybe she does not have or did not have at that time. I do still think she was blinded by whiteness. I do still think she was blinded by the money, whether she admits that or not. I do think there were other things at play. I'm not going to lie about that, okay? I do think that her conditioning contributed to it, but I'm also not going to take away from the fact that he was definitely laying it on thick. He was doing some love bombing type of behaviors from the story that she told us, right? And so it definitely, no, we're not talking about Alandria. We're talking about Onyeka from Danish Deception. She was definitely susceptible to him for a reason. I don't know any of her history, right? But there was a reason why she was susceptible to that. And we have to understand that part of this didn't start to really expose itself for real until a little bit later, in a couple months in, right? And so I think for me, accountability from her would have looked like being willing to admit, I recognize that there are reasons why I ignored some things. There are reasons why I didn't pay attention to some things, right? Instead, she came onto the internet and it was all just him. And it was all external. She did have a couple of moments where she was like, I know that I should have. I know that was stupid. I should have. I know that I was an idiot for this or whatever, right? She admitted those things, but to me, that doesn't indicate any sort of self-reflection as to why she did the things she did. And so I would have liked, if you're going to tell the story, right? And this is why people are saying she's an unsympathetic victim, like it's hard to sympathize with her. I think that it's hard for people to do that because people didn't hear that, right? Which is different than what people heard with Risa Tisa, right?
Yeah, the tone was completely different. Sorry, I just wanted to add in. I was just thinking about like what I said before. Yeah, I want to give more context. Obviously, Africans don't have a lot of experience with white people, period. Especially West Africa, it's kind of different when it's like, Kenya or like South Africa or Zimbabwe. But like Nigeria, not often, mostly in the cities, and those are people coming in for business. You know what I mean? Onyeka's Igbo, so she's from the East. So it's not like Lagos where it's like, oh, it's super metropolitan. Even in the cities we have in the East, like we have like somewhat nice cities and, it's nice and comfortable, but it's more local. It's slightly more rural. So her family wouldn't have any experience with white people and whatever kind of deceptions they might have in their bag of tricks or something, compared to like a Black American family where it's like, oh, I know Auntie Shirley was done this way with this guy trying to do business with him, or however different kind of stories, just because you're around white people. So I feel like that's also contributing to like the reaction from Black Americans. But African girls, especially Nigerian girlies, especially Igbo girlies like me, are still like, how mostly our issue is, in what world would you give a white man money? For like culturally, that's fucking bonkers. Like culturally, like that's insane.
Yeah.
We value money highly.
Yeah.
A man is supposed to be able to provide for you, toxic, gender values, whichever. But still, the fact that her family was giving this man money, what kind of nonsense is this?
But that goes back to, again, y'all, I do think that they value certain things, right? But I also don't want us to get away from the fact that, like, yes, she got victimized. She is first generation, Lauren, from what I understand. She's first gen. So she was victimized, and she absolutely, there were some steps that she could have taken. And as of yet, it does not sound like maybe she has done the work to figure out why she was susceptible to that victimization, right? It is more about being reflective of his behavior rather than any sort of like, oh, why did I do that? And to Lex's point, it is very soon that she's telling this story. So like, maybe that will come at some point. But like, another thing, y'all, it should have been a red flag for her that he was in a 4-year relationship and it had only been 4 months. I'm sorry. 4 months after 4 years, y'all are living together, you've intertwined your lives, is not enough. And so, that's not enough to feel like somebody is past that relationship. And I would be curious as to why they are moving into another relationship at the rate of speed that he was moving, right? Yeah, that was the first red flag for me. Was the first red flag? They only got divorced at the beginning of this month. Yeah. So there were a lot of things that she was willing to ignore. Accountability would look like her reflecting as to why. Right? And why did she ignore the warnings? Why did she not want to hear it? Why was she so defensive? Why was she you're depressed after he left you to go back home after he came to visit in Dallas, and he had at that point, they had only been together for like 2 months, and you're depressed, bawling your eyes out. Something should have triggered in you that was like, why do I feel so attached to this man already?
I think it's mental illness. Like, again, from an African family, mental illness doesn't exist. Therapy, what the fuck is that? You know what I mean? If she had emotional struggles, like connecting with her peers in like a normal way, even despite like the racism, other stuff can add to like the mental load. And, just being a girl is like really just traumatic. Add to that, you're first gen, you're not desirable, and the world says you have to be desirable. You know what I mean? I was mentally ill as a teen. Like, it was bad. And if you're not addressing it, like, I did a lot of self-reflection as a kid, so that really helped me. But it seems like she never, I feel like there's often two paths girls like me go through. It's, okay, I'm self-reflecting, I'm working, I'm improving myself, I'm letting go of the materialism, because materialism is huge in Nigeria, and the expectations placed upon me in my role, and I have to be a mother, I have to, whatever, and I'm just gonna be human, I'm gonna be me. Or you just go along the set path, and sometimes you do well in that path because you just got the things given to you by God that allow you to do that, or you struggle but you're still dedicated to it. And to me, it says that she chose the second path instead of reflecting on her. She chose to be she wanted to be a wife more than she wanted to be a human, and low key to me.
Yeah. Well, also, and I'm gonna bring up dark skin lover girl. I see you in the queue. I also want to name that Lex said he just left in like September of this year. They just got divorced the beginning of this month. Y'all, I also want to normalize her smiling. If you watch the series, y'all know I'm gonna give you a nuanced take. Whatever you feel about that is your business, right? But her smiling, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's like joy. Sometimes you smile as a response to discomfort. And so that easily could be what that smiling is about. If you watch it, she progressively gets less like happy, right? Not that I think she's happy to begin with, but she gets less like you can see her mood shifting as she's telling the story. And she might be grieving the divorce. There could be lots of reasons. I think that she probably should have paused before she told the story. Okay, Skylar, please give us your thoughts, and then I'm gonna go Anika K.
Hello. So at first I had to show my husband this video because I was like, this actually makes zero sense. When I first saw it, I was like, okay, girl, I feel like this is a lie. I don't know. This is a scheme set up by Todd. Who's telling stories? So I went and I watched the video, and I watched it with my husband. And the first video, he was like, the red flags are red flagging in this woman's face. Like, okay, you're on a trip, you meet a random man. We know about trafficking, we know about all of the things that come with being in foreign countries, and now you're getting drunk with them, whatever. Story continues. I realized and noticed that she didn't seem to get really angry until she was talking about what he did to her family. And I was noticing that, and I was like, okay, so yes, what he did to your family was wrong, but like, what about what he did to you, girl? Like, I'm sorry, the red flags are there. Like, they were swinging in her face. They would have hit her with a truck. Like, they were there, and she just couldn't ever see it. And I was wondering, was she too naive? Is that what she wanted? Or was she just wanted everything to be good because maybe she hasn't had good in her life? And also, when I found out that she was in her late 20s, early 30s, I was really shocked because it sounds like a story coming from someone in their younger ages. And also all of the money she gave him, every time that he's about to fly out to see you after the first time, every time he's about to fly out to see you, now he's telling you, oh, I don't have the money for this. Oh, I don't have the money for this. I need you to send me the money. And now he's able to come fly to you, and you didn't put those pieces together. I could put those pieces together. And also 28 parts. She really wanted to be Risa Tisa, but the thing about us is that we all knew Risa Tisa was taking accountability, and she admitted where she went wrong. This girl, I don't know what's wrong with her. I literally have been thinking about this for like since I saw the first video. I had to watch a second breakdown because I was like, maybe I'm going crazy, and then I was like, no, it's not just me.
Yeah. I mean, I do think that it's very easy to avoid red flags. I think that this goes back to, and I'm sure somebody else is going to bring this up on the panel because people are so smart up here, but like this goes back to like how we conceptualize marriage, right? And she is from a Nigerian family. She's like first gen. I do think that there can be pressure in a lot of families around like getting married and needing to like marry well. So I think that her being later 20s, early 30s, there could have been some pressure around like, you need to like lock in, you know what I mean? Like you got this career, but you need to like lock into like being a wife and being a mother. Like that wouldn't shock me if that was part of what was coloring the way that she was showing up with him. I do think that they're also, you know, I just thought about that meme that was like, you didn't see the red flags? And they're like, girl, I thought it was a circus. Like there are some people that just, they like a little bit of toxic, you know what I'm saying? And it feels a little, maybe that like cat and mouse feels a little good to some people. And again, that's like the part that she needs to reflect around. And that's the other thing, Kim Possible. That's what I keep saying, right? Is like the Smex piece. This is why we saw 404 act how she did. This is why we saw Honda Civic acting out. I mean, they were already predisposed to the behavior. She was already predisposed to the behaviors, and then she had Smex too soon. She needs to know herself well enough to know that they're like Gigi says all the time, if you're going to hold, you have to hold responsibly. You need to know yourself well enough to know, is this going to attach me further to someone when I don't maybe know them well enough to get attached in this way, right? Do I need to be of clear mind and sound mind first, right? I don't think she knows herself well enough for that, right? And so this is why she engaged in the way that she did with this man. That's what I think, is that there's very little self-reflection. I do think that we also need to admit, she told us in the beginning of the series, all the exes she mentioned, at least, they were all white men, European white men explicitly, that she mentioned, all the exes that she mentioned, right? Yeah. And so I do wonder, yes, Olivia, I do wonder if there is just like a level of like reverence, and again, for white European men, and again, how blinding that can be when you align with white men. You are automatically simply going to believe them because they are a white man that you, in this case especially, also perceive as attractive and you perceive as wealthy. I think she kept the marriage a secret from family and friends because at this point, part of it was embarrassing, right? Sure. Part of it is like, and that's what she talked about with Crypto and Crypto's wife, that she felt embarrassed by it, right? And so they're saying her sister's husband is a YT man, and so are all of her friends. So she definitely wants to fold into their culture. She has a reverence for the culture in a way that is blinding to her. And that's the shit that she really needs to unpack if she's not going to move in this way in the future. And yes, Vendetta said shame held her prisoner. Shame can be a huge ball and chain. It will make you, if shame, it's like a big heavy blanket. You can either lay up under that bitch or you can get up and you can do something about it, right? And she laid up under it, right? Do I think she can get her money back with the lawsuit? If she actually has all the proof that she says, then yes. Vendetta, they just, they being weird. Just ignore them, child. Okay, Anika, please go ahead and give us your thoughts.
Hi, everyone. Yes. So I will admit I'm speaking only from the perspective of being able to stomach just about 3 of the videos and looking at other people's content. Because by the time I saw the end of the 3rd video, I rolled my eyes and I said, I have had enough of this. Because to me, she handed over her power way too early. She was just too giving. You do not give a man a copy of your passport. You don't know the man. You do not know the man. Why are you giving the man a copy of your passport to go to Monaco? Like, hello? Are not the alarm bells going off? And then when I saw this content creator, her name is Odion. I think she is Nigerian as well. She's based in Houston. It's her content I've been absorbing to get all the bits. And on a live she did, after the live, she received a message from one of the young lady's friends or former friends who actually went on a double date with her and the ex-husband. And she said, I warned her about him, that there was something suspicious, but she didn't want to hear me. And her response was, I love the fact that we have our white men. So to me, and it's not just an African thing, we have it here in the Caribbean as well. Specifically for Trinidad, it is very, very weird the way we embrace Europeans, especially, without question. I mean, I could go off on a whole tangent about that, but that's another discussion for another time. But the overall lesson for me in this, listening to what everybody has to say, is that marrying well does not necessarily mean marrying white. I think that is what people need to get. Marrying well does not mean marrying white. Not because he's white, not because he comes from Europe, not because he might know what wine to pair with what meat or where to go here, there, and everywhere. No, that does not mean marrying well. There is character. And it is clear to me, what I listened to got me upset, because this man is playing you and you are there like fawning over him, and I'm like, girl, what the hell is wrong with you? Why are you doing this? And to put it into as like 27, I didn't even listen to Risa Tisa, sorry. I saw somebody write a whole synopsis on Twitter and I read it. So I know I don't have patience to listen to nonsense, whether they gave accountability or not. So after listening to the third video, I was like, I ain't doing this again. So I will look at other people's content and get it. But yeah, a lot of the issues that are being raised in the discussion are very important. And what I find very telling is her reaction to the criticism that she's been getting. She is actually upset that people are holding her to account and calling it mean comments. I have not seen a mean comment yet. At least from what I've seen. I've not seen a mean comment. I've not seen a mean take. I've seen people strip and analyze where her head was at, what could have possibly been the reason for falling for this thing in this way. And the last thing I say, I don't know if you all know of a thing called Danish butter cookies, right? There's a thing, right? The only Danish deception that I think I would be interested in is if there was a tin of Danish butter cookies and I opened it and I saw my mom's sewing kit in it. Honestly. Because that thing was no Danish deception. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. I don't know. I was as I said, I was exasperated by the third video. I said, listen, and even when I listened to people's takes on it, I'm like, nah, this girl not serious. Because one video I saw, one girl was saying every problem she had, there was a trip. Something happened, another trip. This I said, so your whole existence is being what? Deceived by the fantasy of a trip. You're not realizing what's going on with you. Where are your friends? Who this man borrowed money from? Why didn't they tell you anything? I am sure they told you something and you didn't listen. Stop trying to fool people. So yeah, I mean, I agree with what everybody has been saying, but that's just my take on it, honestly.
Love that. I love that, Anika. Listen, marrying well does not mean marrying white. And that is the lesson that she has not learned yet. And I will say that I struggled with the title Danish Deception because that didn't feel like it was truly capturing the essence of what was happening. It felt like, I don't know, like, again, I think for me that title in and of itself was like a little bit of a lack of accountability, right? Not that he was not wrong in his behavior, and that's what it is. A girl in the sense that my Danish delusion that made me buy a deceiver or buy the comment something, but like I wanted to also hear, like, again, some level of acknowledgement around, I was choosing to just ignore things. I was choosing to not let myself see things because it felt nicer. It felt better in my body to let myself fall into this narrative of it being this thing, right? That would have been nice for her to have a little bit more of that. I did hear a couple of people in the comments saying that apparently she's blaming the black women, saying like, oh, you're not receiving me well. And I think it just has to do with the fact that, again, like a lot of Black American women are not going to be able to relate to the things that she said. And for me, from the very beginning, right? From the very beginning, it was like there was something that was like, I don't know, but it's off. And so, yeah. And I see y'all's comments that there's drama in Nicolandria Nation again. I know somebody came in here saying that, Nick cheated. I don't dabble in, y'all know what I'm about to say. I don't dabble in like conjecture or gossip or whatever. I wait for actual evidence and proof of things before I have any takes about it, but I will look when I get off if y'all want to DM it to me. Okay. Kay, please give us your thoughts.
Hi, Tina. Yeah, so like with the whole like Nicolandra thing, I don't know. I'm even staying off of Twitter for like a week because I can't with people. There's no evidence or anything. So, anywho, going back to the Danish Deception, I think Anika's right. Like my only Danish Deception was those cookies. Where the hell were they, Mom? Why were you hiding? Like what? Anywho, I took some notes because when a lot of the people in the panel were talking, I kind of just had to reflect back because I'm also African, specifically Central African, and a lot of the things that I see kind of like were a mirror back to my own culture and the way that I was raised. So one thing, it's like in my culture, and I think a lot of people can acknowledge this, it's extremely male-centered. So anything you do is around like motherhood and like womanhood in general is very much centered about how can you be a good wife, how can you serve somebody else, how can you put yourself last and put everybody else's need first. It starts at a very young age, especially with your sibling and with your parents, always having to think about everybody else. So with that, like when I was hearing just like the whole Danish Deception, that was the first thing that jumped into mind. It's like, oh crap, I hope that's not how I turn out, because that's literally the culture that I grew up in. The other thing, it's like whiteness / colonization colonization and the effect it had on us, I was just thinking back on like some of the stories that my uncles used to tell us, and the way that they kind of I can't say the word, put like whiteness, thank you. They kind of put whiteness in just the culture of whiteness. Well, I don't know if that's the right word that I should be using, but they put whiteness in such a great pedestal that often it diminishes our own culture. I've heard some people within my own family that I've been close to saying, oh, colonization wasn't that bad. Like, we needed that because we're savage. All those kind of rhetoric that you grew up with, and you kind of sort of hate yourself internally because you start believing that you're worthless, your culture is nothing. And yeah, because you had to be saved by the Belgium unless they kill you, that kind of thing. So just hearing her story and the way that she wasn't able to see a lot of these red flags, that was the first thing that came into mind. It's, oh, you're not mad that this happened to you because this is a white person. As you said at the beginning, it really was because he's a white person. And I even typed it in the comments, like, whiteness covers a lot of sin. You can literally forgive people just because they're white. Like, I see it every day, even with my own family members, where they would, like, even when we talk about like media and our conception of it, like if it's a black person doing something, the way that they would bash that person, it's to no end. And then a white person would do the exact same thing. Then there comes the excuses. You know what? Maybe it's not that bad. It's the same plight that I have. I'm exposing myself a little here with my dad and Donald Trump, because a lot of the things he does, it made me question even my own father, because I'm like, how do you like Donald Trump as a person? And then you say that you have quote unquote Christian values. It makes no sense because he also didn't like Obama. And I'm like, okay, I get it. Like, there's some things, but then you're so pro-Trump and we're Canadian. That's the worst part. Like, Tina, he had a Trump hat in 2016 and I had to walk around with this man, and we're Canadian. I cannot tell you the embarrassment that I had for 4 years. I did not want to acknowledge this man as my dad, but I had to. So with the whole like Danish Deception, I don't know, like it felt extremely weird. And every single time I heard anybody's take, I'm just like, man, I hope that's not me, because I feel like I also harbor some like anti-blackness, especially when it comes to my own culture, where like growing up I used to say, oh, I'm not gonna marry men from my culture just because of the example that I was presented with. And it's something that I continuously have to work on. It's like, why? Like, not everybody's like that. Is it truly the culture, or is it the people around me that are basically giving me this false impression? Which I hate to say, but a lot of the men in my culture, like every time I think about how like my brothers, my cousins are raised, even like my uncles, it's just so bad that it's very hard for me to be like, oh, I would marry within my own culture, because it's just the example that I was given kind of soured any sort of man who says, oh, I'm Congolese, because that would be like the first thing. I'm like, oh, you're Congolese, so either you're a huge mama's boy or you just hate me as a person. You expect me to do everything for you. Even I think somebody else brought it, I don't know who it was, but somebody brought the fact that she was more mad that her family was scammed than she was. And I think that kind of goes back to like the self-sacrifice part of it, where you're all right as long as it's you, but the moment it's in your family, it looks not only bad on you, but it's like, damn, like my family shouldn't even have known that this was a thing. So we're always taught like shame, like whatever happens at home stays at home. So to even bring it to your main family, the moment it gets out of your little circle, like that coupling that you have with that man, it becomes a whole other issue, because it's like it should have never gone there. Yeah. So I don't know, like it really just made me think a lot like these days, because I'm just like, oh my gosh, I hope I'm not that person. I really, really hope that I'm able, like I'm 20 right now, so I'm like hopes and prayers that I don't end up in a situation like that, because I've kind of started even learning about my own culture, kind of just to get away from the narrative that we needed like Belgium to save us, because Belgium literally had us in cages in our own country. That still baffles me. Like, we had human zoos, for God's sake. Like, that's insane. So yeah, she's a great lesson just to me as to like what not to do and what kind of steps I need to take to kind of like embrace my own culture and do some more self-reflection as to, is there some anti-blackness that I still harbor, and what can I do to kind of change that? So that was just my take on that.
I love it, Kay. Thank you for sharing your thoughts. We are, to the people in the comments, we are not talking about Nick in the picture on Twitter. Y'all, we're not having that conversation. Y'all know, and I've said it before, I don't do speculation. I don't do that. Even when all that speculation was out about Pepe and Iris, I was like, I don't really have nothing to say about it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know enough. People have come into my inbox alleging things about Islanders before. I'm like, I don't do that. That's just not what I do over here. So I don't actually care. No shade. Like, I'm not being shady. I don't care. And right now, today, we are talking about, and especially on Twitter, like, they're not to be believed, child. They stay looking for, like somebody already said in my comments, they stay looking for a gotcha moment about Olandria because people want to humble her so badly. And people need to, they need to interrogate their internalized blackness as to why they feel like they need to do that so much. So no, we're not talking about that, y'all. We are talking about the Danish Deception. Okay, we are talking about Danish Deception. We're talking about how anti-blackness, the priority of whiteness as a system, is influenced the way that she showed up. We're talking about the way that her culture influenced the way that she showed up. We're talking about that today. Okay, something else that I want to name that I haven't yet about Onyeka as well is another flag, y'all. This man was telling her that he was a successful businessman, but in less than 3 months of knowing him, he was already in financial hardship. And then even if you're like, okay, maybe he hit a bump, right? Maybe he hit a bump, right? The fact that they were in financial hardship and he kept having her make unwise financial decisions, that should have been her clue that maybe that's not a true story about him being a successful businessman, right? Because if you are successful in business, you are not saying I need to borrow $6,000 and then still booking trips. You are not saying let's just my money's being held up by the IRS. I owe this hundreds of thousands of dollar tax bill, but let's just put it on your credit card and go to Portugal. Oh, just quit your job even though we put all this on your credit cards. Like, you're not doing that if you are a responsible and successful businessman, and all of those should have been signs to her. Mm-hmm. All of those should have been signals, right? When the money is funny, if he's saying that his job is, in addition to what he said his job was, but he also is a real estate investor, which means you're supposed to be able to be good with your money. You're not making financial decisions like that. You're not taking unnecessary financial risk in that way, right? And so these are things that you all, and this is last thing, and then I'm gonna go to Lauren on my panel, and then Dark Skin Lover Girl. This is what I want y'all also to remember, and I've said this to y'all before. A lot of people don't actually have what it takes to be married to wealthy men, right? They think that they do, but they don't actually have what it takes to be married to a wealthy man and what they would have to maybe deal with it. I've talked about it from that perspective before, right? Many women think they want a baller, but you're not necessarily really equipped or want to put up with what that might require from you as a wife. Here's what I want you to take away from this example with Onyeka and this man, right? We know he wasn't actually wealthy, right? If you are going to be with a man that you perceive as wealthy, because she perceived him as wealthy, if you're going to be with a man that you perceive as wealthy and the entire time try to convince him that you don't want him for his money to the point that you're willing to come out of your own pocket, you are not equipped to be with a wealthy man. You're not equipped to be with a wealthy man. You're not equipped to be with the if you are with a man that you perceive as wealthy and your an entire focus is convincing him that you don't want him for his money, so now you're doing stupid shit. You're not equipped to be with a wealthy man, because women that are with wealthy men have an expectation of how they're supposed to be engaged with. Mm-hmm. And the wealthy men know that. Mm-hmm. Okay? All right. Lauren, please give us your thoughts.
Hey, y'all. Thanks for letting me up here. Did anyone ever watch Iyanla Fix My Life, right? The show. You know that scene? Well, and it pops up on a short, right? Where she's like, you really want that? And let me tell you, you're never gonna get it. That was what it felt like watching this woman's series. And I too could not get through all of it. I had to cut it and I had to get a synopsis. I will say that, how does she say her name? Because how it's spelled, I feel like I'm not supposed to say it that way, but she says it differently. She calls it Onyeka. How does she say it? Because I don't want to fuck it up. Oh, I'm just going to call her O because I don't want to fuck it up. But like, you know what I think it is like, especially because she's like in Dallas, right? Like oddly enough, stories wise, I too dated a man from Denmark, right? She did, didn't she? Okay. And my spouse now is melanatedly challenged. And listen, we met when I was young, okay? And I'm just gonna stand on that, you know? And he's not one, it's still there. It's definite, and that has not been released, okay? It's something I work through each day. But what I recognize is like, I realize my aesthetic and her aesthetic is definitely different. It's different in a way with her, like you could tell that she, if you were on her Pinterest, she'd have like Meghan Markle boards, right? Like Duchess of Sussex boards. She would have like classy, tasteful, quiet luxury looks. She would have like her pins and algorithm would be like interracial love, but like married in a castle style, right? Like this is something that the things that she accepted, right? Because you accept the things you think you deserve. I still think she thought she deserved the world. I just think that she thought that he was that. Like even when she was faced with the reality that like, you're never gonna get it. Jan the Voice, right? Like he's not royalty. Babe, he's not. He's a brokey. You said there was change in that account, right? You said it was 30 something cents. We've got we've got to really face that. And we can face it together, right? Because other people had to deal with that. But in your mind, you still wanted this like Meghan and Harry love story, like possibly a Netflix series. I mean, aesthetically, and he wasn't even that cute. Like, I don't understand, but aesthetically, the photos were photoing, right? But it was oh, it's so strange saying this today, a scheme that Todd set up to come to you with the bullshit. And a little discernment, right, would have like done something. It would have like, I don't know, changed the vibe a little bit. But like I'll say it, fetishization of, let's say it, whiteness, right? Of perhaps biracial babies, perhaps, I mean, and also the people that she follows online. Like I feel as if I know who she probably maybe leaned to vote for in the polls. I know the things that she probably said about, Kamala behind her back and a lot of other people's. It feels almost as if it is, she desired that so much and knew that with this man, she didn't even have to deal with, even though racism is so loud, but it's subtle, like in Europe, right? Like it's very in your face. It's right here. Like it's right here. There's no missing it here in the States. And I think she was able to literally not even have to deal with these conversations, like perhaps you are fetishizing this man if you want to talk about things on a personal level, right? Because I know he scammed you out of this money and stuff, but you were all, he was allowed to be like your prince, whatever, that you could like have photos with. I mean, you came in saying he was gorgeous, blonde hair, blue eyes, 6 feet tall. I mean, and then I also did see your clips on The Bachelor, and it's how I know that, like, if you were invited to a luncheon with Miss Owens, you would RSVP very quickly. Yes, you were a victim, but I think you are a victim of colonization and infantilizing a group of people that, no offense to them if there's anyone in here, but have only shown kind of like, they haven't really, the grace that you gave this man has never really been provided. That's not what they do, like, culturally. Like, that's not their thing. It's not, they aren't like a beacon of like love and charity, historically, statistically, currently. You see what I'm saying? So she was just throwing out passes that she wouldn't give a family member. Okay, she certainly wouldn't give it to me, and it's because, babe, there was something about that lack of melanin that needs 30 SPF that made you want to hold on tight and never let him go. And I do feel bad for you, but you know, my therapist told me like she told me the opposite of compassion is pity, and that's what I feel for her is pity. And I do wish, I hope she gets the money back, and I hope that it'll be different. But do I think it will be? No. Do I think that she's gonna, like, let's say that she actually found a Nigerian prince that was like, honestly, I know people are laughing at you, but I got you, and I can care for you in ways, you know, that man said he would. And then another, Austin from Southern Charm came by and was like, hey, who would she pick? I have a feeling it'd be Austin. And I'm landing my plane now.
I think that's a great point. I just pulled up his picture so I could actually see him, and yeah, she was dragging it. She was dragging it. She was dragging it. Okay. He was just stepped outside of a Calvin Klein girl.
Who's Calvin? Who's Calvin Klein? I know you're lying.
Oh, y'all want to see? Hold on. Yeah. Let me show you. That's him. Her Calvin Klein model. I'm sorry. Oh, wait, hold on. Let me show you.
Looking like the younger version of that scammer guy in the OC, doctor who pretended to be a doctor. You know the one I'm talking about? They had a show on Hulu. That's what he looks like 10 years younger. Who is this man?
Yeah.
Like, not that impressive at all.
He's not ugly to me, y'all. He's not ugly, but she was dragging it. She was dragging it a little bit. Okay. Dark Skin Lover Girl, please give us your thoughts.
Okay, hey y'all. I don't think he's ugly. I think he's cute for an older man, and I don't know how old he is. I actually felt bad for her in the beginning. I also, like everyone else or most people on the panel, I did not watch all of it. After I think part 6, I kind of like just went to the people that was breaking it down and watched that. I can relate to her in some way, as I'm in the Dallas area, and I also
married. My first husband was a white man, and yeah, my first husband was a white man, and when I was in my 20s, but I didn't get scammed by him. I think that he probably got scammed by me, but he wasn't rich, but he did definitely had money. But yeah, I think that from the very beginning, whenever she got his Instagram, I think he could smell that she was, what's it? I can't even say the vulnerable, but I think he could tell that, like, oh, okay, I can get something out of her. I think that he's done this before. She just happened to be the one that he could get the most money out of. I agree with everyone here. There's no way that you don't Google or look up someone that you're dating or try to, see if things are in this day and age in 2022, everything is so, and that Hulu, what Lady Russell said, that Hulu thing did come out. So there's no way she didn't look it up. I think that she did just decide, you know what, I'm going to look over it, because she desperately wanted to be married and desperately wanted him specifically. Looking back at her reality past, she only dated white men. And I think when she saw him, she was like, oh my God, this is it. This is it. And just everything left her head. I do think that, it's still so early, so I don't think that she's not in love with him. I think that if he came back to her right now, knocked on the door or knocked on her heart and said, like, give me another chance, she would delete everything and go back to him. I just don't. I don't think that she's over it. I'm sure that I can see how she's more hurt about him scamming her family than her, because she loved him or she loves him. So, the hurt of him hurting people that she loves could be more. But as far as, I don't think she's over. I think that she would still go back to him. I feel bad for her. I feel like there isn't any such thing as a perfect victim. I love what you said, Tina, that she did, she was victimized, but she allowed herself to be kind of victimized. She allowed it a little bit. She wanted to be in white spaces so much, because all the best friends that have came out are all white. And like I said, I relate to her. My first husband was white. I'm also first generation African, but all my friends are Black. And my friends, once they would have told me that, hey, this man's asking me for money, first of all, I would be embarrassed. Because how did y'all get his information? Or how did he get y'all's information to ask y'all for money? And second of all, like, the way she presents herself, she wouldn't, it doesn't seem like to me that she's the type of woman that wants other people in her business. So if they told her, or like she said, if people did tell her, like, something's wrong with him, then she chose to ignore it, which then I can say, okay, I don't think that, you were 100% scammed. Or what did she say? Decepted. I think that you kind of went along with it a little bit for the aesthetics, the pictures, the fame, because 3 reality shows down, you obviously also, I think that the 6-part, whatever part series that she's doing also is also both a fame thing that she's looking for. She's looking to reap benefits from what Risa Tisa did. But it's just backfiring for her. Well, I guess it's not, because she has views up, but it's not, she didn't think that, she's not getting the same kind of victimhood that everyone gave Risa Tisa. But like everyone said, she didn't take any accountability. But I agree with everything you said, Tina.
Thank you, Dark Skin Leopard Girl, for your thoughts. Y'all, I appreciate my panelists for coming up. I'm going to close the panel. I am going to answer the rest of these questions, though, that did come on the form. I do want to honor that when y'all send the questions, I do want to answer them. So, Another thing that was asked was, many people say they don't believe the gambling addiction part of the story. Do I have thoughts? I don't know. I don't have a reason to feel like that's a lie, y'all. And given that his friend is the one that let it slip, that's even less of a reason for me to feel like that's a lie. There's no reason for me to feel like that's not a true statement. That said, I think that is what set her up partially. I mean, she got set up a lot of times. That knowing that it was an addiction, I think, is what set her up to sort of infantilize around it a little bit, and to, whether people realize it or not, a lot of times people are ableist in their behaviors, right? And so she's like, well, can we, hi Fanatic, she's talking about, can we go to, a GA meeting? Baby, he doesn't want to go. You want him to go, right? But because you feel like you know best and you're just going to help him. And she said this, right? Like, she wanted to stick it out. She wanted to like push through. She wanted to persevere. And you need to ask yourself, why does marriage teach you? Why does the way that you understand marriage, the way that you understand the concept of marriage, teach you that you should labor in this way for someone that has already been so deceptive with you about the money? Why was that not the moment that you were like, you know what, you've been lying to me, you've been deceiving me, I'm actually done? And instead you went into caretaker mode. Why is that? Right? But she did the same thing when the friend let it slip that he had a gambling addiction in the past, and that he had people that might be looking for his ass, right? So she did the same thing. Of course, my first instinct was to protect him from his family, right? To have this conversation outside of the home. So I don't think that's a lie, because that's not something that she just offered. Like the friend accidentally let it slip, and then when the PI did the investigation, it did show that the wallet that he sent the money to or whatever had been attached to a gambling ring for a very long time. So the story tracks. Okay. Do I think that she knew or had some idea that he was lying to her? Do I think that she was in on it? I do think that we all have gut instincts. I think that we all have a different level of how much we acknowledge and honor those gut instincts, right? I've talked to y'all about this with 3D and Clark. I've talked to y'all about this with I don't know who else, but I definitely about 3D and Clark, right? But like, I think you have gut instincts about things. Have you been taught to trust your gut instinct, right? And what is at play that may overpower your gut instinct? In her instance, I think the thing that overpowered her gut feeling, right? Because she was like, I was starting to, I don't know, I'm not really sure, right? I think what overpowered that was her alignment with whiteness and her desire and the pressure to be married at that point, right? You need to be a wife, you need to be a mom, you need to be doing these things, right? And again, shame. Shame is a hard one to admit, like, damn girl, I got, because she was getting got before they were even 3 months in the relationship, okay? And Lauren, I wasn't gonna say it, but she is another one that I've talked to y'all about. Janae, right? Like, Janae very explicitly said, I saw the flags and I tried to just ignore them. There were people that warned her, and she's like, well, you just don't know him like I know him. Right? So you have to be willing to be the person. If you want to avoid being in situations like this, and it may not ever be this extreme, you have to be willing to let the people that you say you love and that love you back to offer you feedback that may not feel comfortable. You have to be willing to do that, right? This is why I be on their asses when they come in here and they can't manage it, right? They cannot manage the idea of feedback, right? They cannot imagine that I would offer any sort of feedback around people that they like. That just shows me that you are going to be susceptible to really awful scenarios in your life because you are not open to and receptive to any level of feedback, right? So you have to be willing to hear from the people that you say you think love and care about you. I don't think that she was in on it. I don't perceive it as that personally. I don't perceive it as that. Do I think she would still be with him today if he hadn't left her? think that she would have continued to fight for her marriage because that's what she told us. And that's all that I have to go on, right? Is that she wanted to fight for the marriage. And so all that I have to go on is what she initially wanted, which was to keep trying, to persevere, to push through, to support him through, et cetera, et cetera. So that's all that I have to go on. So yeah, I do think she would have tried to continue to fight for her marriage. B said her scamming was for online validation, not for money. Yeah, I think that she thought, and another, I think, thing to pay attention to, right, is like, have you actually healed before you start coming into these spaces? Because if he didn't leave until September of this year and the divorce was just finalized at the beginning of this month, I don't know that you're in a place to be telling this story already. And so what is the motivation for telling the story? Is it, and I know that she said, right, part of it is about her collecting data. It's about getting other people's stories so that she can go forward with this lawsuit. But you do have to wonder, is part of it about monetization? Is part of it about becoming known? Is part of it about having a viral moment? All of which she was successful at, right? She probably needed more than a few months of therapy. She needed a few months of therapy just for... Exactly, Fanatic. She didn't name him. People went and found him. So again, there's still this level of protection for him. There's still this level of protection for him. And that is curious to me. Right? And you know, I have clients that do the similar behavior, right? And so you have to get curious about, can we be honest that part of that protection and part of that cover is because I actually do still love and care about this person, and I don't really want to just throw away this relationship or this dynamic. Right? And so I think that we have to be willing to be honest about that. And I think that, you know, if there was anything I was to hope for her, it is that she would B, that's a great point. How do you want to protect his next victim and not tell anyone who he is? That is when that felt disingenuous to me, because she started it with, this is about me wanting to protect people, you know, so that nobody else is victimized by him. That's how she did her introduction, but then she wouldn't name him. So that felt disingenuous to me. That I will say. And I don't know if that's because she has a lawsuit pending, but that's not what she said. She said, I don't need to name his name. It just gives, again, the inclination to protect. And she needs to get curious with herself as to why. And so what I would hope for her is that she allows herself to go to therapy and do the work around healing from the grief of the relationship, because it's a loss, whether it was a good relationship or not, doesn't matter, right? Mm-hmm. But the fact that she's even telling us and telling us, right, there were good times, there were good moments. I do think part of that is about her not wanting people to believe, oh, you're just stupid, how did you get scammed, blah, 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 right? I do think part of that is about defending herself, but part of that is about offering, again, cover for him. And so I want her to allow herself the time to heal from the grief of the loss of that relationship, because loss is loss, period. And it's going to hurt. And then I would love for her to spend some time getting curious about, why was I susceptible to this sort of behavior from a person? Why was what about my conditioning, about my raising, about my belief systems, what about it made me susceptible to being in a dynamic like this, so that she can begin to undo that work. And Lauren, you're probably not wrong. If she did vote that way, that is definitely contributing to the susceptibility, right? Because she aligns with a certain ideology, if that's true. And that's going to make her more susceptible. And then she probably in the future needs to just date within her tax bracket rather than trying to date a man that she perceives as wealthy, if her entire focus is going to be on proving to him that she's not with him for his wealth. Right? And I see y'all in the comments about Nick. I appreciate those in the comments that have been holding it down, that I am not discussing that. Yeah, that's what I don't understand, Adelaide. My thing is, he asked your close friends and your friends didn't tell you. That is weird to me. to me. Because how are they a really close friend and not even just like in conversation, like, oh yeah, girl, you know, John and Eric are working on that deal, girl. I can't wait. I think it's so great that they're able to, like, it didn't even come up in conversation ever. Like, how close of a friend are they?
And one of them was her sister.
And not even the sister.
And then you know what I'm saying, from her thing, he talked about them being such a close family and how he loved that about them. So how about I can't imagine asking one of your sisters. I can't imagine calling up Lanice or Shawnee and be like, yo, I need $3,000, and they're not saying nothing to you about it. Like, hey, so I heard, or whatever, right? Like, I can't imagine doing that and that not getting back to you in no way, shape, or form. Like, how is that even possible? This is your sister.
Right.
Fuck the friends. It's not, you know what I'm saying? Whatever. And not like that, but like, fuck your sister? But yes, also your friends. How is that something that's not like, there's like a scenario like you just said? Hey, I'm happy for our men. They doing these business things together and whatever the case. But that's crazy.
Exactly. A good documentary or movie that I recommend watching. I just watched Mr. and Mrs. Murder on Hulu. I thought it was pretty good. Yeah, so y'all, I don't, it doesn't make sense to me. Melly Grace, we were talking about Danish Deception. It doesn't make sense to me. There are some things that feel odd. I think that this could have waited to come to the internet, honestly, if I'm thinking about this bigger picture, especially once Lex offered us that timeline. It doesn't make sense for us to already know all of this. I don't even think she's in a place yet to really relay the story in a way where it could be received well, to be perfectly honest, right? And again, and I tell y'all this all the time, you have to be mindful of what people are asking you to put out on the internet, because not a lot of people are just ingesting the content because it's like, oh, this is tea. Whole time that's your fucking trauma, babe. Like, don't let your trauma be somebody's tea. You know what I'm saying? If you're not even, there's no way in a few weeks you've healed from this to the point where you can talk about it in this way. Like, you have to be mindful. Like, it's giving. I'm gonna say this, and this is maybe a little shake the table-y, but it's giving. You continue to allow yourself to be in relationship to predators and to be victimized, because why are you allowing, when you started with story one, and I know that this was again her decision, but like, you're allowing yourself to be pumped for this story. Why? Are you not considering anybody's intention or the impact on you? Shoot, people in my life, they're like, yeah, it had an impact on my body. Like, I was shaking, like it made me have a reaction, and you're just telling it willy-nilly to a bunch of fucking strangers on the internet. Like, you gotta be more careful. You got to be more careful, and you got to be mindful of how you, anyway. Yeah, I want her to take care of herself. Be happy for life. Listen, if your goal is to be happy for life, do not even bother watching. Go listen to the recaps. Is there a way to know if she has more than 10,000 followers? Then she's monetized, probably. In order to be in the creator fund, you have to have at least 10,000 followers. So if she has 10,000 plus, then she's probably in the creator fund. And so that would be one way to know. She might need the money. That might be what it is. I don't know. I have no idea.
She kind of recouped. You know what I'm saying? That's not funny. It is a little bit.
You know what, babe? I don't know. I would doubt it, honestly. I would doubt it. Yeah, again, it doesn't feel like she's actually taking care of her own self in this. Mm-hmm. Is how I'm perceiving it. It doesn't feel like actual care for self for her to be already on the internet sharing all of this with us. So that's Danish Deception. We have covered it. I will be posting this. Well, I'm lying. Chris will be posting this live on YouTube. Her family did give him money. I think somebody said the number ended up being like 70,000 altogether. because he took like 30K from her, ended up giving her like 9,000 back or something. And then he owed the one friend $200,000, and then the sister was $3,000, and then it was just, yeah. And she didn't say how much her dad gave him. And that's the other thing I will say. I was angry, and I said this to Chris. I was mad at her parents because ain't no way my daughter is telling me, because she did say that people knew that they were like financially kind of like in a position, like they knew about the tax bill. They knew that. Ain't no way that I know that about some man or some woman, and then they come to me talking about wanting to marry my child, and I'm not going to be like, well, hold on. Have we gotten financially stable yet? There's no way I'm not asking that question as a parent. I'm not willingly allowing my child to enter into and not that I wouldn't be giving my blessing, is what I'm saying, right? He was asking for the blessing. You're going to do whatever you want to do, but you're not going to get my blessing to move into a marriage where I already know that you are financially unhealthy. Mm-hmm. That's not what I hope for my children.
At all.
So while you can do what you want to do, no, I'm not going to be like, oh my God, yes, I love you so much, I'm rooting for y'all. Like, that's probably not going to happen for me. I'm gonna need you to come to me with some sort of plan. Of how you taking care of that money, honey, before you start trying to get a green card and come over here. No. Yeah, it seems like a lot of things are out of step with what maybe y'all would expect. And again, this is why I think it goes back to, it's a little too early for her to be sharing this story, because I would not be surprised if maybe some pieces are missing, because shame kept her in the dynamic. So why would shame not also still be present in the telling of the story when it's still so fresh? And so I wouldn't be shocked if there were pieces missing. But now I know y'all started asking me last week if I had seen Danish Deception. I have watched as much as I'm going to watch. Those are my thoughts. Those are my takes. I appreciate y'all for always having such nuanced, wonderful takes about everything. Y'all are always so brilliant. Oh yeah, be a therapist would have been clocking that seat off rip. I love y'all down. I hope that you have a wonderful Sunday and a beautiful week. The live will be up soon. Bye y'all.